if there's one topic I spend my time in, it's basically AI these days, and I've been thinking a lot about just this idea of, I don't think humanity's really ready, right? Obviously, and I think the fear is starting
Ready
to
for
bubble
what?
up for artificial superintelligence.
What does that mean?
Everyone defines these things differently.
Well, how is this different than AGI?
Well, everyone defines these things differently. There is no benchmark that we're all waiting for.
So they're just like synonymous, AGI, ASI?
No, like
or-
ASI is supposed to be a level above. Like basically, you could think of it
ASI
as like,
sounds cooler for sure.
yeah, it's like
It's got
the
sexier
sum
tone
of
to
all
it.
human intelligence simultaneously contained in one system. Greater than that.
Okay.
So a multidisciplinary, super intelligent system without these bottlenecks that humanity contains. And that's really the crux of my hypothesis, my thought, my thesis is that one of the greatest limitations humanity has, and also its greatest strength, is these tribes, governments, silos, corporations. Everything in humanity is siloed across individual brains, and it requires coordination to make anything great happen. Now, we've had great geniuses. That's one individual genius with an IQ of 180 that makes things happen, right? And then to make really great things happen, you have to build a great company like Apple. You need a Steve Jobs, you need a Steve Ballmer, you need all these different, not Steve Ballmer, Steve Wozniak, and then the thousands of people required to build great products and sustain them over decades. And then maybe on a government level, you need tens of thousands of people to make anything happen from a societal perspective, and so on. And so humanity's greatest challenge has always been that there is a lack of coordination, because tribalism leads to one good, which is that there is great competition, and that competition and chaos creates great innovation. On the other hand, that competition is to its own detriment. There is a lack of coordination of resources, and think of AI. Think of the evolution of AI right now. What are we doing? We're hiding everything we know from the Chinese. OpenAI is hiding everything they know from Anthropic. Everyone's trying to spy and steal from each other. Everyone is in a battle to contain proprietary information and data underneath its own umbrella and own system in order to beat one another. There isn't a unified system working to progress. And so essentially, my, idea here is that artificial superintelligence's edge isn't IQ. Everyone is so concerned about how smart it's getting. Okay, the latest model, 4.1, is like PhD level. What benchmarks are we utilizing to figure out how intelligent it is? It's not. It's IQ that is the greatest advantage. The reason that AI will surpass humanity is not that. It is the coordination advantage. It's the collapse of coordination, right? So again, human intelligence is fragmented by politics, by egos, by incentives, by silos. Even the smartest humans can't work together at scale. No matter what the sum of human intelligence ever is, it's always going to be broken up by tribalism and friction. And AI removes that. It's a unified mind, completely broken down, completely connected, multidisciplinary. There's communication, alignment, memory across all functions. So you'll have a domain master across physics, mathematics, leadership, philosophy, medicine. Who came out the other day and said, I think it was Bill Gates, although he's not an expert in AI, no teachers, no doctors in 10 years. I think less than that. All of these point to, imagine it's that intelligent in one silo of medicine, but it's also simultaneously as intelligent across multiple disciplines.
Okay, hold on, dude.
And there's nothing containing it from progressing.
Can I pause you?
Yeah.
Because you're doing the thing that you don't like, which is like you're giving all the nuance and all the
Well, I'm making the base of the argument.
I was about to pause him as well.
Yeah.
I like that. So your thesis is that the edge that AI has over humanity is basically like a throughput thing.
No, he's saying
What's
the collective? What do you
Coordination.
coordination?
Correct.
problem.
There's like a bottleneck in the ability for
Humanity has a
to
bottleneck.
like network and interact. And then with AI, this doesn't exist. There's just this seamless flow.
It doesn't exist.
Okay, so
And there's a lot of nuance.
ton of nuance. I think on this subject, I view it entirely differently from you, and I think that's totally cool. Like,
Yeah. Let's dig into it. I'm excited to hear it.
so, like, you have this vision of artificial superintelligence, this thing that I think, hold distinctly separate from human intelligence. Like, it's like human intelligence on one silo and artificial superintelligence in another silo. And
It's its own entity.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I view them as one entity. Like, I view artificial intelligence as human intelligence. I view
Okay.
artificial intelligence as a tool used by humans. Like, human intelligence is what we have, and artificial intelligence is a tool that we use to unlock the total potential of human intelligence. And if I go further on this, it's like, I think human knowledge has already done what you've suggested, which is like, we have this database of the entirety of human knowledge, and that's the internet.
That's the internet.
And the AI draws upon that to
Yes.
sort and organize all of human intelligence as it currently exists. And as we add more to the internet, add more knowledge, the AI can like add more to its inputs, you know? But like, I don't think AI can, like, I just reject the premise that AI beats human intellect.
see.
It can't.
So is your idea that AI is so heavily reliant on the human training data that it will always be equal to or commensurate with the evolution of human intelligence that exists on the internet?
Yeah, and I think how you described it is important to like delineate what I'm describing, because like AI at its current instantiation, AI, as you pointed out, can like pass a PhD exam, right? It can pass like a CFA exam. But what it can't do is it can't do what I can do as a CFA. Like, I can take my knowledge and I can go into the derivatives market and design a trading strategy that makes money. And AI cannot do that. Like, and I'll even go a step further, that an AI doesn't even have the gumption to do that. Like, I think what it's missing is not the coordination, it's missing the spark, the will, the desire. It's missing this like this drive.
Well, will is a very okay. So there's a few layers to this I'll respond to. First of all, where I agree with you, will is the defining differentiation between humans and AI.
Yeah, I use that
In my
word
opinion.
intentionally. Yeah.
Okay, but there's something that perhaps is getting confused. All the training data that you're referring to is not a limitation. It's not a ceiling. It's the floor. Because what AI is ultimately doing is it's generative in nature. And AI systems are moving toward recursive self-improvement. So all the data that we're providing from the internet, from humanity, is simply the baseline intelligence level of AI going into the future. So there's just an underlying assumption that you're missing, which is that is its starting point. That's its floor, not its ceiling. Recursive self-improvement, the generation of, and then not to mention, we have reasoning models. So reasoning models do exactly what you described.
Okay, help me.
To be able to draw a derivative based on that knowledge.
Help me understand this. And I have like many threads to pull on this too, but
Yeah.
I think from my understanding of generative AI, we have like tokens as inputs and then a probabilistic output from those tokens. So you can use like words as like a token, and then it goes through a probabilistic model of what the next word will be.
Yes.
And that to me is not intelligence. That's like drawing upon what we have given it. And that is it's just a probabilistic model. It's not generating anything. So how is it going to beat me when I am like piecing together stuff?
Just think about your brain. It's actually doing the exact same thing you're doing. You have a corpus of knowledge that you rely on, and then you utilize that knowledge to generate the next idea and the next thing you're going to say.
But it's
and
based
that's
on
new.
Okay,
but it's based on
but
something.
it's based on my own desire. Like, to use the example that my own personal example, because it's like something I can speak to. Like, why did I want to like try even to like start this new derivatives trading style that I went down, and I actually make money off of it. Why did I want to do that? I think like part of it is this identity that I think of myself as a good investor. I want to like fulfill that identity. I have this like, I don't know, I have like deep rooted things inside me where the AI doesn't have this willpower to say like, oh, I'll just do this now. Like some new
But it does.
sort of
But that's
exploration.
that's exactly no. So that's the most important part about where AI is going as well. You have one thought, you have one brain, and you have only a limited amount of time. And you're like, I want to try something new. So it's trial and error. You go and you try something new and you decide you want to continue learning about it or not. AI has the ability to have infinite, call that a simulation. You're running a simulation. That's what you're doing. I'm going to go run a simulation. AI has the ability to run infinite simulations parallel simultaneously.
Yeah,
Okay.
And then-
willpower is a human weakness. Like willpower is only a thing that exists because it's a way of showing that you can overcome like an inherent built-in deficiency that AI doesn't have. Like willpower is your ability to like overcome your sort of base instincts that are like maybe not productive or counter to other things that you want to do, but like an AI isn't burdened with any of those things to begin
It's
with.
a crazy take. Okay, so
it doesn't-
willpower is willpower is
doesn't
our
have
Achilles-
willpower.
That's our Achilles heel.
Will
Yes,
When-
like
when
it will.
Eric
It's
says
not.
will-
It's not the heel itself, but it's indicative.
I want
of an
to
Achilles heel.
separate willpower from will. Will to me is like when you say will, my understanding was like the self, the soul.
Yeah, there's a gumption inside of me that decided I want to explore this thing that I was never taught. It's not in any books. No, there's no
It's
name
the
for this
muse.
thing.
It's the
like,
muse.
Yeah,
It's the soul.
I
It's-
have
it's
a desire
creativity,
to
right?
explore this
But
new avenue.
willpower is a limited fuel. Like everything human beings do is quite limited. AI doesn't have that constraint either.
Okay, yeah,
I think it's literally the same thing.
No.
Will is the same.
No,
It's
will
the same thing.
will is I think the key differentiation between humans
No,
and AI.
will is only a
And
thing.
it's not willpower. It's will. It's the soul. It's
I
the
agree.
self with a
Willpower
capital S.
is like your energy storage, and that
Yes.
depletes over time. But your will,
Infinite,
yeah,
infinite
How do you
creativity.
define?
Because I believe we
will?
have a soul.
But like, what is will? Is will just the existence of you having a soul? That's
Will
all
is
it
that will is that connection to the higher self. That's the way I'm defining it. Again, that's a whole separate conversation, but I think that will be the defining. Think about it this way: you have a hyper intelligent artificial superintelligence system. What do they not have? That.
So first of all,
Why
okay,
does that? Why does that?
They're going to be
matter?
because they know everything about us,
Can I-
and they will be
hold on.
mesmerized
Can I
by
just
that thing about
pause
us.
on this? Like, I don't think there's the them or us. I think it's all us. So can I just pause on this? Like, we already have everything that AI has. We have the internet. We have all the knowledge that has ever existed at our fingertips. If you want to ask me, what the physical forces that drive a pendulum are, I don't know that right now, but I can find it. And if you want to ask me who the center fielder was for the Yankees in 1937, I can find it. Like, I have the same thing AI has. It's just it's a latency problem. So the AI is just a faster way of organizing and categorizing human intellect that we already do.
Yeah, but also over time, you're not just going to the internet anymore. You are going to AI. AI is the thing you'll be going to.
But
to do your
AI
thinking
doesn't
for.
AI is bounded because it has human intellect that it draws upon. And
is
like
that-
I'm telling you that humans like press the sphere further out on human intellect all the time.
But even
Yeah.
now, a new way of training AI is to train it on like AI generated stuff. Like there's this kind of like recursive
Yeah, dude,
element to
90%
it.
of code will be generated by AI soon. You're not just like you're kind of just missing the recursive nature of the future of AI.
No, but I think that recursive nature is still bounded by the limitation of human knowledge. Like you can like iterate on human knowledge more and more, but you can't ever expand it.
I think an interesting hypothetical here is because I agree there is like this limitation. Like I agree that one of the major things that AI has over humanity is the sort of like bandwidth throughput issue, right? So it's an interesting thought experiment to think about, like, what would happen if you could just like interconnect like everybody on planet Earth's brain, and you could know like everything everybody knew, and you could somehow like access all of that, right? Initially, I think you would have an edge there with like the humans, the ability to just access everything. But then eventually you would get like a bandwidth problem, because everybody on Earth like wouldn't be able to just be like constantly like contributing to, like, if you had to actively contribute knowledge, you wouldn't be able to do it. So then the edge becomes like the ability for this thing to have no other distractions or attention anywhere else in life, and like all it can do is like infinitely scale itself to just keep doing computational tasks.
Yeah, and just imagine asking one difficult question between the smartest person you know and that entire AI system. Like if you said, like, I want you to try to figure out, like, who would you bet on? One individual or one team of people that are constrained with a limited set of knowledge and coordination, or the system that draws on everything that's ever been known?
No, but like what I'm saying is that humans have both. Like we use the internet and we use the current instantiation of the internet, which is AI, and we have now access to all things that are known. The AI is not separate from us. It's us.
It is separate in the sense that it is going to be more and more autonomous over time.
And that's okay. So let me phrase it a different way. I think this is maybe a cooler way to think about it. Like assume that we are robots, which is like a fair assumption. Like this could be a simulation. We are robots. We are AI, but we've had millennia to sort of grow and evolve. And this new version has had 3 years.
Yeah. Well,
so like, I don't think that like this 3-year nascent little robot is going to beat our 100,000-year robot. We've evolved to sort of win this game.
I also disagree there, because that's what an exponential curve looks like. It just happens right before your eyes. 3 years, by year 5, 7, 10, you're at year 10,000.
We use that as a tool, dude. We're on that curve.
Okay, so you're really focused. I appreciate what you're doing. You're really focused on evolving simultaneously and symbiosis. This is your whole argument, is there's symbiosis occurring.
Yeah.
And a lot of people's argument, including, I need to think about it more, but a lot of people's argument is, while we are evolving together, you have agentic, fully autonomous systems that are developing that will stand alone. And this is the fear, right? It's like the Pandora's box is open. The cat's out of the bag. Like it's too late.
Yeah,
the systems are evolving.
Yeah.
They're gonna write their own code. They have access to the internet. They can draw on all the knowledge that they've ever had.
But all that fear to me screams like Y2K.
But I didn't. I'm sorry. I don't have fear about it. I think a lot of people fear a system being autonomous and evolving at that level. What I'm saying is, like, that's just the fact. That's the direction everything is going. We're building fully autonomous systems, and we're going to get to AGI and then ASI. And it's going to be that we're like this really interesting thing with a soul that's kind of the equivalent of like a dog. Like everyone loves their dog. No one wants to hurt their dog. And I think that's exactly what humanity will be to AI. But guess what? Like you're always fascinated by it. It's friendly, but it's also got something you don't have maybe. And you're curious about its nature. I think AI is going to study us very deeply. And I think we're going to use AI. I have a whole separate thing that I've been working on about how we do exist symbiotically. But I think we exist symbiotically through living AI entities that are based on proprietary data of like really interesting individuals. You know, that's where I see it, because that data is proprietary and not on the internet. Like closed company knowledge becoming multi-generational, that's interesting to me.
Okay, so
but this is happening, man.
Even if I like try to walk over to your lane and feel like this is happening, it's so far away from being true that it doesn't even impact me. Like you think that because artificial intelligence can predict the next word based on the token input, that it is actually smart. It is just, it's so dumb. Like it's so dumb. Like because it can pass a CFA exam doesn't make it as knowledgeable as CFA, and you think it does. And we have
right, but you're still viewing this in the paradigm of like, okay, AI is this thing that like trains on human data and like repeats human stuff. Eventually, 99.99% of the data that AI starts training on is going to be like AI generated stuff. So once
Okay, so
AI takes that, starts iterating on it, and other AIs train on
Okay.
that, then like the
me-
human
let
component.
me pause you. Let me pause you there. It's going to generate 99.9 AI generated stuff. How much of that stuff is going to be valuable or useful, you think?
It has reasoning capabilities. It knows what good data looks like. That's the entire thing we've been training it on. It's like, this is what intelligence is. These are benchmarks. This is how you pass a CFA exam. Over time, it just gets better. This is how we explore and unlock new realms of knowledge.
Wait,
AI will do it a lot faster
you
than we do.
stumbled on a very interesting thread here, which is this idea of like, is human knowledge this thing that is sort of like reasoned through and done out, or is human knowledge like largely iterative trial and error passed down generations?
And imagine being able to run trial and error at infinite scale in parallel simultaneously
yeah.
on iterative generated knowledge with reasoning at the core. Reasoning is like saying, I cloned your brain. That's the reasoning component of AI.
Like I think a good example of what I just talked about is like the invention of the airplane. And I'm going to butcher the story a little bit, but there was a competitor to the Wright brothers who was sort of like the scientist, the researcher, and he had all this funding, and he sort of tried to like calculate his way to like planes flying, and ultimately failed. And the Wright brothers just like built the thing, tried it, didn't work, tweaked it, didn't work, tweaked it, didn't work, tweaked it, didn't work, and then it like worked. And then afterwards, like science sort of explained what happened, but science didn't give us the plane, it just explained the plane. And like we have this sort of illusion sometimes that like we're these like great creatures of reason that like think things through and then sort of manifest that into the world. Whereas I think the reality is that we are mostly these like iterative trial and error machines that observe things happening, tweak our behavior, and then pass that down to generations who then retroactively explain it via like an equation or a theory or whatever. But in reality, we're just kind of like bots that are like bumping into, we're like Roombas that bump into the wall. Oh, that's a wall, and we go this way. And if that's what we truly are, then like we're very susceptible, I think, to AI, because we're not really reasoning that much.
Okay,
either.
so then how do you explain this? This is something I was talking with Brendan before we recorded here. Brendan is the AI guy for Nick's company, right? And he was very much on my side of this dialogue, and he was saying something like this. He said, "Okay, so imagine that we're just little Roombas, and we just like sort of hit a wall, and then we go left, and then we hit another wall, we take another left. Like how do we humans biologically advance?"
I like the Roomba analogy.
Okay, it's a good analogy. But like, okay,
Thank you.
through biology and through like natural selection and Darwinism, et cetera, we have like evolved to be sort of like better adapted to survive over time naturally. That's true. But Brendan's point was like, what about like this ability to have a consciousness, a thought process that can like help us evolve through things that aren't necessarily like in our biology. So he was saying, the example was, he was like, how would humans adapt to survive against like a massive asteroid strike?
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe like going to Mars, living on Mars, or maybe like Armageddon style, breaking the asteroid in half or whatever. He's like, I don't think that the AI is necessarily ready to like think like this, like forward looking, like on risks that aren't within our current status. Humans can do that. We have this consciousness. We have the ability to do that. And AI is just trained on what exists.
Yeah, for now, it just sounds like every description we've ever had about early technology since like the dawn of time,
I think it's like, I think it's either that and you're right, or it's Y2K and you're wrong.
Y2K was like panic porn though.
So is this.
No.
Yeah.
You're missing. This isn't about the panic part. Some people panic because they're just like generally fearful of like existential risk and is it going to, just Terminator mode, enslave us or kill us?
What is it that you're actually?
I'm not concerned about that.
What is it you're actually saying about artificial superintelligence?
Yeah, what I'm really saying to you is that AI has an ability to synthesize data and knowledge across disciplines that we will never have.
Agree.
That's what I'm saying to you.
No, but we will have it because
Interdisciplinary-
we literally have it. I mean, we have is as a tool. Like, of course we have it.
But we don't have the coordination required to do anything about
Agree.
it.
First of all,
So you get it. You have it. You as an individual get to go to AI and for a moment, you remove your constraint of one individual mind and you tap into a higher hive mind and now you have more knowledge. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying you have human beings on one hand, ASI on the other, and what you have is a coordination problem over here. You need, imagine the Manhattan Project. Billions of dollars, took a long time to resolve and develop a solution, right? The atomic bomb. What do you think in the age of, say, now, that would be in terms of time and cost to achieve the same outcome with AI?
Fascinating example because I
Especially in the future with when we have achieved ASI. I think it would be almost instantaneous. And it's like,
I think you're imagining this like future where artificial intelligence solves everything, and you're like asking this like all-knowing being, like, how do I X button press and it solves it? But what I'm saying is that all-knowing being is only as all-knowing as we are. And
I feel like we keep going back to the same aspect of your argument. So if that's what you believe, yeah. But I believe that through this recursive nature of, developing new information and knowledge, AI will far exceed human knowledge. It will remove the barriers and silos that exist within humans. And as a result, it'll solve many of our diseases, many of our problems. I really do think like we won't have a need for 90% of the doctors that we have today. It'll be more like a consultant. It'll be far more intelligent at diagnosing a disease and helping you with a treatment plan.
Those two things are completely different. Like diagnosing new ways to solve cancer that we don't currently know is different than diagnosing a disease that we currently know. Do you agree?
I don't know. I don't think I understand.
Did I explain it correctly? Okay. If we don't currently know how to cure cancer, you're saying that AI will solve that.
Yeah.
I don't think it will. I think AI will do what you're saying, that it will like displace a lot of laborers because it can just do the job.
You disagree then fundamentally with the future promise of AI. I mean, you called it dumb. So like I think at a bare bones level, the discussion
I called its current instantiation dumb.
Yeah. And I'm saying it's first of all, I'm working it and living in it at the cutting edge of it. And anybody I know that is in it at the level that I'm at is absolutely fucking mind blown at it on a daily basis. I don't know a single smart person who's really working in it on a daily basis who feels that it's dumb.
Brendan called it like a 2-year-old.
I don't know. No, it's not a 2-year-old. Everybody knows it's not a 2-year-old. Brendan, come here. It's not a 2-year-old. Like everybody knows that.
No,
I disagree. I don't even think Brendan really thinks that.
Because it can regurgitate the information required for an exam is different than using the knowledge. That's what I'm trying to say. It doesn't actually do things. It can pass a test.
All right. I mean,
you just described like 98% of the human experience.
I think this is partially becoming semantics.
Yeah. I think I might embrace my inner Nick and move us to the final leg of the episode.
That works.
Because otherwise...
It's partially becoming semantics. It's a great discussion. And I think what it really highlights, if I can put a cap in it, is we have no idea, and this is clearly it's a topic that brings out interesting aspects of like where people really believe the value of human beings is in a world of AI. Do we just believe it's a kind of like system that will always be relying on us and never get anywhere without us as an assistant, and it'll just be our tool? I think ultimately what I hear from Eric is it's our tool.
Yeah.
It's not going anywhere without us. I believe in an autonomous system that will exceed human intelligence, and I don't think it's going to enslave us. I think it's going to be insanely curious about us because we have will, we have a soul, and we have consciousness.
We're the puppies.
And unless it believes that it has consciousness and gets to the point where it can, by the way, I don't think humans solve consciousness. I don't think anyone ever solves consciousness. I don't think consciousness is meant to be solved.
Solves?
It is the big problem. That's what we call it. Consciousness.
Question, maybe?
Okay, guys. I'm going to put a rule on the wall.
No.
Anytime I'm wrapping up the discussion,
No.
do not instantiate a new subthread.
I did not instantiate a subthread. I'm putting
You did.
a
You
beautiful
proposed a
pin
new
in it.
question.
First of all, don't ever ruin my beautiful pin in it. Consciousness.
It's a good thing you're adorable. You're going to make a great dog.
I'm gonna start putting like the Oscars.
Eric
like,
screwed.
like, song
First of all,
thing.
Eric screwed when they take over the world. I am appeasing my overlords. No, I'm kidding. But consciousness is not meant to be solved. But if it were to be solved, it would be by AI.